Hey everybody. In this video, we're going to be talking about what's called the social construction of reality. Now, the social construction of reality is the means by which a person will shape reality around themselves in a way that gives themselves an advantage. Now, when I say shape reality around yourself, I'm not talking about magic or anything like that. Again, it comes from interactions with the people around you that give you some kind of advantage. So let's say you are in a bar or restaurant, or you're in the gathering place where other students are, and you look across the room and you see a person who you think is attractive. And now you've decided that you're going to go start a social interaction with this person. You're going to go say hi. Your goal of the outcome of this interaction that you're about to begin is that that person who you find attractive finds you attractive too. So what you're going to start doing is socially constructing reality. You are going to present yourself in such a way that you think maximizes the probability that that person gives you their phone number or gives you their contact information. You think they're attractive. You ultimately want to go on a date with this person. What can you do to make that happen? If you think that is being funny, then you're going to try your best to draw out some humor that you have. If you think that is being sexy, then you're going to try to present yourself in the sexiest way that you possibly can, right? And these are things that you can do. But this isn't the whole story of you, right? If you're trying to get the attention and affection of this person that you find attractive, you probably aren't going to let them know that back home in your room or your apartment, you haven't cleaned up in 3 weeks. You're probably not going to let them know that when nobody's around, you pick your nose and rub it on the inside of your shirt. That might be stuff that you really do, but that would not help you in this situation to get the affection of that person returned. So that kind of information stays silent. So again, you are creatively shaping a version of reality around yourself that gives you an advantage. You are putting forward your best possible qualities while simultaneously withholding anything that might be perceived as negative to get the outcome that you want. This is also very common, this social construction of reality, when you go for a job interview. Right? So you've been looking for a job for 6 months and you haven't been able to find one. You finally decided that you're going to apply at the fast food place down the street. No offense to any fast food workers out there. I worked fast food too, right? But when you go into the job interview, one of the earliest questions is, well, why do you want to work here? Well, the real answer is well, because I've looked everywhere else and I can't find a job and this is close to my house and I guess this is what I have to settle for, right? That's the real answer. But that's not what you say. No, you say something like, well, I've always liked McDonald's. You guys have the best food and everybody's so nice and they know what they're doing all the time. And I really want to be a part of a team like that. Right? You're socially constructing reality. You're creating a version of reality around yourself to get your preferred outcome. In this case, the preferred outcome is that you get the job and you start drawing a paycheck. Okay? This is social construction of reality. Now, we're going to get, there's a theory that says that this social construction of reality is going on with everybody all the time. It never, ever, ever, ever ends. And this is the primary theoretical construct for this unit on social interaction. We're going to talk about that. But this is, in these kind of situations, this is very overt. This is very deliberate. This is very goal-oriented. Social construction of reality, okay? Another part of social construction of reality is what's called ethnomethodology. And this is the study by which people make sense of the day-to-day interactions of social encounters. So let's say it's next semester and you recognize my face from these videos that you're watching. I recognize your face somehow, I don't know. And we are both on campus and there's really nobody else there. It's an off day, but we both have individual business there. I come walking towards you from one side of a long hallway. You come walking towards me from another side of a long hallway. I look at you, you look at me. I say hi. What's up? And what do you say? You say hi, or nothing much, or you might even say, hey, what's up? Okay? These are the expected responses, right? If there's a stranger that says, hey, how's it going? You might say, hey, how's it going? And then that ends the interaction. Nobody has answered the other person's question, right? But nobody's offended, because that's what the expectation is, right? When the person who you know very little or don't know at all asks you a question like, hey, how's it going? That's not really a genuine inquiry, right? They're not really asking you to reveal to them the activities of your day, right? It's a way to say, hi, I see you. I'm recognizing your presence. I'm not being rude by acknowledging that you're here. And when I say, how's your day going? I don't really want an answer other than fine or good or nothing much or something benign or positive, right? If you ask, if you're walking down this hallway and there's a stranger and you say, hey, how's it going? And they say to you, man, I'm glad somebody finally asked. I've been having a horrible day. I'm glad I finally have somebody to talk to about it with. You're going to be potentially horrified, right? Like, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't really mean that, right? I was just saying, hey, this is ethnomethodology, right? This study of how these day-to-day kind of pre-programmed interactions take place, what we expect out of them, and what are the appropriate calls and responses to each. Now, when you're with your family or you're with your close friends and somebody say, hey, how's it going? That's probably genuine inquiry, right? They really want to know. If your day has been really, really bad, well, they probably want to know that because they care about you and they want to know maybe if they can help or talk you through it somehow, right? So if you get home and somebody that's very, very close to you says, hey, what's up? How's it going today? And you go, hey, what's up? Like you would the stranger in the hallway? Well, now that would be perceived as something being wrong, right? That's okay in the hallway with a stranger, not so okay at home with the loved one, right? This is what ethnomethodology is. This understanding about how we're supposed to interact in any kind of given situation based on these kind of pre-programmed, socially written scripts that we follow, okay? Ethnomethodology. Now, again, we talked about, briefly, I mentioned that this social construction of reality is a theory that says that it's pretty much going on all the time, constantly with everyone. This is what's called Goffman's dramaturgical analysis, also known as the presentation of self. And this is the primary theoretical component for the social interaction unit. Goffman's dramaturgical analysis, sometimes called the presentation of self, is based on theater with actors and stages and scripts and costumes and performance and props and all that stuff, right? The whole big full analogy. The point of the whole thing, of the presentation of self, is for people, you and me and everybody else, to be creating and managing the impression that everybody else has of you. Okay? So what Goffman says is that it's advantageous for us that the people around us have a particular way of seeing us. So then we perform in front of those groups of people so that we give them an impression of us that we want them to have. For instance, as we were talking about in the previous video, I have the social status of college professor, right? You have the social status as college student. Now, it's important to me that my students see me as a good college professor, right? So when we talked about the roles that were associated with being a college professor, right, that I'm fair, that I'm intelligent, that I treat people equally, right, all those different things, then it's important to me that my students think that about me, And for a college student, it's important, or should be important, for a college student that their teachers think about them as a good college student, right? And all the things that society expects college students to be able to do if they have that status, right? To be inquisitive, to be curious, and to be punctual, all those different things, right? So that when we are in front of those people, when I am on stage, again, with a theatrical performance, as I am right this minute, as I make this video, when I am on stage in front of my audience, you guys, that I exhibit those kind of behaviors so that I am managing the impression that you guys have of me. So that the impression left in your mind is that I am a good teacher, right? And when you guys are on stage, if we were in a live Zoom room or if we were in a live classroom, then you would be performing, again, the theatrical performance analogy, you would be performing for me. I would be your audience. Okay? So in dramaturgical analysis, the presentation of self, this performance is ongoing. As soon as I end this video, I am no longer on my stage with my audience being students. I return to my stage of home, and my audience is my family. And as dad and husband, there's different set of impressions that I want my family to have of me. Is it so important to my family that I know a lot about sociology? No, it isn't. Is it important to my students in a sociology class? Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to go from one stage, this one, where you are my audience, all my students, to a different stage. And you're going to do the same thing. Maybe you're at home right now, and you're performing in front of the people that are around you, but then you're going to go to work, and you're going to be in a different stage, which would be work. And your audience is different, your coworkers and your boss. Okay, so you're going to be performing to give them the impression that you want them to have of you. So this whole performance is going on all the time. It never, ever ends. It never ends. You just step from one stage to another and one audience to another, okay? So let's say you go to the dentist's office. And when you go to the dentist's office, the person sitting at the front desk is part of your audience. The dentist is part of your audience. And for them, you are their audience, right? So they want to give you the impression that they are a very professional dentist's office, right? Maybe that's what you get from the reception person. When you go and sit down in the dentist's chair and the dentist comes in, the dentist wants to give you the impression that they are a skilled dentist, that they're going to be gentle, that you can trust them if you open up your mouth and let them stick sharp things into it. Right? That's going to be okay, right? So that's the impression that they are managing in your mind. And you are simultaneously managing an impression that they have in their mind of you, right? So I know I'm not alone, but when you make a dental appointment to go get your cleaning, that you make sure in the week leading up to that you brush your teeth extra good, right? Floss your teeth extra good. Right? Multiple times a day, twice as much maybe as you normally do, because you want your dentist to think that you are a good steward of these teeth. Okay? You are managing the impression of the people around you. Okay? This is the major point of what the presentation of self is that you're always managing the way that people think about you. Okay? In a way that is beneficial to you. You do this through, again, your interactions. You do this through the things that you say. You do this through the costume that you wear. Again, remember the theatrical analogy, right? When you're at the dentist, if you go to a new dentist, you go and you sit down in the chair. A person who walks in the room, never seen this person before, tells you to open up your mouth, tilt your head back, and they're going to start putting things in your mouth. And then you say, okay, and you do it. What the heck, right? This is a stranger. They've just told you, open your mouth. They're going to put stuff in your mouth, and you have just agreed. Why did you agree? because of the stage that you're on and the costume that they are wearing. They are wearing the white coat, right? They have they have the tools in their pocket protector deal, right? You know this person is the dentist because of the costume that they are wearing. Now, if they walked in with ratty overalls and no t-shirt and told you to do that, you'd probably ask, well, who the heck are you? Why are you in here? Somebody call the police, right? But you recognize the person in the white coat as the dentist. And as the dentist, it's normal in an interaction with the dentist for them to say, open your mouth, I'm going to poke around in your mouth. And that's why you agree to do it. Okay? So these different audiences that we have, think about if you worked at a bank. And if you work at a bank, one of the impressions that's important that the other people at the bank have of you is that you are very professional, right? You're working with money. This is serious kind of stuff, right? It's important to be consistent. It's important to be professional. Maybe it's even important to be a little bit boring, right? Not too out there. So that's how you perform on that stage. Maybe that's not you, right? Maybe that's not who you really are, but while you're on that stage, you recognize that that's a requirement, so you perform that way. But then it's Friday, and after work, it's your best friend's birthday. And you and your best friend and then some other friends are going to get together, and you guys are going to go to the restaurant or the bar, and you're going to celebrate their birthday. And during the reason why you're friends with these guys, the reason or girls, the reason why they invite you is because you're fun and you're spontaneous and you're exciting, right? That's the exact opposite of what the people at the bank think about you, right? Because if you were spontaneous and exciting and, maybe risk-taking, well, they wouldn't, maybe you're not a good fit here at the bank. But that's why you're a great fit with your friends, okay? So your audience changes and your behavior changes. Okay? And you're at the restaurant or the bar or the club and you're being spontaneous and fun and, risk-taking, whatever. And then in walks boss from the bank. Now you've got a problem. Because if you are going to be maintaining the impressions that people have of you, and those impressions are different, then it's really, really important that you keep those audiences separate. Because you can't have your coworkers from the bank think about you as steady and consistent and maybe even a little bit boring and hyper-professional. You can't have them thinking that while you also have to make your friends think about you as exciting and fun and spontaneous, right? Because if those two groups of people are in the same space, how do you do that? You don't. You have to break the impression that one of these two groups of people has on you, right? I mean, hopefully your friends will understand so you get to keep your job. Anyways, this is why it's really important that when we're managing these different impressions that people have of us, we keep our audiences separate. Now, in an example like this, where the coworkers from the bank walk into the club where you are, that's not often how audience segregation failure happens most often. Most often, audience segregation failure happens online. That's how it happens most often today, right? Where you've put up videos of yourself and pictures of yourself, and you've made statements and tweets and messages and all kinds of things, and it's out there for anybody to grab and see. Okay? So you might say something to your friends and, oh, whoops, I didn't do that private and now it's public and now people from work can see that. That's a problem. That's an audience segregation failure. And this can cause big issues. For example, I don't know much about this lady, but this is Stacy, and she agreed to have her information as part of this collection of slides. She was a aspiring kindergarten teacher. She is a kindergarten teacher now, but her first job offer was at a private religious school for kindergartners. And when she applied for this job, they came across this picture here. Now, there's nothing horrible happening in this picture, right? It looks like Stacy's just taking a picture. She's probably hanging out with her friends. These old Mr. Goodbar cups, I recognize those. You usually put beer or mixed drinks in that. Stacy is hanging out with her friends, drinking beer, wearing the pirate hat. Okay? And that's why her friends invite her to the parties, right? Because she takes cool pictures and she's fun and she puts the hat on, right? And that's what makes Stacy so cool. One of the things among many. But this is not the impression that you want the private school religious hiring committee to think about you, right? You want them to have the impression of you that you're going to go do tree rubbings with Bibles in the forest or something, right? With the kids, right? Not partying, getting drunk with the pirate hat. So Stacy didn't get that job. She later got another one, but audience segregation failure has consequences. Okay? So, in this video, we've talked about the social construction of reality, ethnomethodology, and Goffman's presentation of self, also called dramaturgical analysis, also called impression management. Okay? So I'd like to know if you guys have any questions or comments. You can leave those below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.